Yesterday on the community tab, I put up a poll asking which type of video you would like to see next, and the overwhelming majority of people voted for Fortnite's most underrated weapons and items of all time. So that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. We're going to go over what I believe to be some of Fortnite's most underrated weapons of all time. As always, make sure you keep an eye on my YouTube community post. That is where I gauge the majority of my ideas for my videos. But with all that out of the way, let's get right into it. I had also had a separate YouTube community post about what you guys think are the most underrated weapons, and one of the ones I saw the most was the Thunder Shotgun from Chapter 4. And when you think of OP shotguns, you think of the Spaz, the Havoc shotgun, those types of guns, but I feel like you don't really think about the Thunder Shotgun, but in reality, it is one of the best shotguns of all time. I think it often just goes quite forgotten because it was only in one season, that being Chapter 4 Season 1, and then it was gone forever and has not come back. I also feel like this shotgun gets overlooked because of the fact that it was in a season with the Shockwave Hammer, right? And so when you combine the Shockwave Hammer, one of the strongest weapons of all time, I think it's easier for some of these other weapons to go forgotten about, and the Thunder Shotgun was definitely one of the best weapons, if not the best weapon of that season. In my opinion, it is better than the Maven, which was obviously the other shotgun that season. And I think a lot of people who dislike this shotgun will give it a couple reasons. One, because it takes 2 shots per shot, so you have to use 2 shells, but also the kind of wide, almost horizontal pellet spread, instead of it being a circle, was more kind of like an oval, which meant that if you were farther away, you were going to be hitting for a lot less damage because less pellets would be hitting the target. But this thing was absolutely beefy up close, and in my opinion, the Thunder Shotgun is absolutely underrated and one of the best shotguns of all time. And next, let's go back to Chapter 3 and let's talk about the Hunter Bolt Action Sniper. Now, this is kind of an interesting one because snipers have a unique history, and I think everyone, when you think of snipers in Fortnite right away, I think you think of the Bolt Action Sniper, you think of the Heavy Sniper, and you think of the Reaper Sniper, of course, the one that we have in Chapter 5. But in my opinion, the Hunter Bolt Action Sniper is actually the best sniper of all time. Well, maybe not as good as the pre-nerf Reaper, but still very close. And we saw with the Hunter Bolt Action Sniper, it actually got a big buff. I believe pre the buff, this sniper was not one-shotting to the head. I could be wrong, but I believe that was the case. So after the buff, you had a sniper with 3 bullets in the mag, with a good rechambering speed, great scope. Let's just talk about that scope. That thing was clean. The only thing that I can knock the Hunter Bolt for was the bullet velocity. It did have pretty slow bullet velocity, and so you kind of had to account for that drop, but if you did, you could dice people up with this thing. So I actually believe that the post-buff Hunter Bolt Action Sniper is better than the current Reaper that we have. I think it's just a better version of that Reaper. And so I would love to see the Hunter Bolt Action come back and be able to put attachments on it, but I don't know that that's ever going to happen. So in terms of the best snipers of all time, I feel like the Hunter Bolt Action is often left out of that conversation, but in my opinion, it is one of, if not the most underrated weapon of all time. And while we're still on the topic of snipers, let's talk about the buffed version of the semi-auto sniper, particularly the one from Fortnite OG. And this weapon is really unique. It has a crazy history. Of course, the semi-auto sniper, when it was in the game pre-Fortnite OG, was not great. Everyone would always take the Bolt Action Sniper, of course, over it, and it always just kind of fell 2nd, 3rd, 4th place to whatever sniper was in the game, and that was for one main reason: that you could not one-shot headshot with it. And most of the time, you could not even one-shot body shot with it. But they made a huge change in Season OG where they made it so that the semi-auto sniper could one-shot headshot, and that changed everything. You now had a sniper that did not need to rechamber at all, so you could shoot off 10 shots pretty damn quickly, and you could one-shot headshot. So the semi-auto sniper, after this buff, quickly became one of the best snipers of all time. I mean, you could just go person to person to person with 10 bullets in a mag and never have to reload. You could just one-shot headshot everybody. It was incredible. So this version of the semi-auto sniper often goes forgotten, but I do think that it is one of the most underrated weapons of all time. And let's jump all the way back, as we just did, to Chapter 3 and talk about Med Mist. I feel as though Chapter 5 has lacked the addition of unique heals besides Flowberry Fizz. I would say we haven't really seen any new different healing items, but Chapter 3 introduced Med Mist, and an item that I believe to be one of the most underrated healing items of all time. And Med Mist was a big deal for really one reason: the fact that you could heal white heals while moving, and now that doesn't sound like a big deal because you can do that. You can walk around and hit a med kit, but back then you had to be stable while hitting bandages, med kits, really any type of heals besides, I don't know, chug splashes, that type of thing. So Med Mist was a really big deal because you could sprint and be healing at the same time, and this was totally unique, totally new, totally innovative, and really, really good. I think Med Mist is one of those heals that absolutely should still be in the game, and I think that it is one of the most underrated healing items of all time for sure. And also, I think the fact that it has 150, not just 100, is a big deal because you could not only heal yourself back up to full if you got down to one shot, you could then get an extra 50 heals if you got shot again, so it made it better than a med kit. So yeah, all in all, I do think Med Mist is one of the best healing items and most underrated healing items of all time. And let's just stay on the topic of underrated heals, and let's talk about Pizza Party. Pizza Party was a epic tier, so purple, tier rarity item, healing item, that when you would throw it on the ground, it would give you multiple slices of pizza that would give you 25 health and 25 shield per slice. So if you're playing duos and squads, you just throw it on the ground and all your teammates can eat all the slices. I believe there were 5 slices in total. It could have been 6, but I know for a fact that you could hold 3 slices. So if you didn't want to eat them now, you just throw it on the ground, have your teammates hold a couple, and you can hold a couple as well. You can hold 3. So think about that. You get 25 shield, 25 health for each. So you're getting a total of 150 health and or shield per 3 pizza slices. So if you think about it, it's incredibly strong because to get it, let's say to take a big pot, it takes you 5 seconds, but for a pizza, you get the same amount of health and shield, 25, in an instant, in a second, really. And again, the only thing that holds it back is, one, you can't hold the whole pie after you throw it down. You can only hold 3 slices per slot. And also, it was an epic tier item, so it was hard to find. But, you know, think about previous purple tier rarity heals. In my opinion, this is probably the best, and definitely a forgotten about and underrated healing item. I also wanted to make sure that I threw kind of a controversial pick in here, and that's going to be the Prime Shotgun. And this shotgun, in my opinion, I will die on this hill. The Prime Shotgun is one of the best shotguns of all time. But of course, using this shotgun was contingent on hitting that first shot. For those of you guys who don't know, the Prime Shotgun did extra damage only on the first shot when you had a fully loaded mag. So you would have to have 4 or 5, I believe the cap was 4 on the Prime Shotgun. You would have to have that full in order to do the max damage on that first shot. So you really kind of had to be strategic with how you used it. You would shoot that first shot, it would do the extra damage, and if you had time, you could throw a quick reload, put the shell back in there, and then get that extra damage again. And I can already see the haters coming in here and telling me, you know, wow, I shouldn't have to reload the shotgun just for it to be good, whatever. But if you were good at using this weapon, you knew how to use it, I believe the Prime Shotgun is one of the strongest and best shotguns of all time. I just think it goes kind of untalked about because it was only in the game for 1 season. I am a Prime Shotgun stan. I do believe that it is one of the best shotguns and certainly an underrated weapon in Fortnite history. And for my final entry of this video, I want to talk about the Mammoth Pistol from Chapter 4, Season 3. The Mammoth Pistol is certainly one of the best and strongest pistols we have ever seen. I believe a headshot from the legendary version of this pistol would hit for 197 damage to the head. Let that sink in. That is a pistol we are talking about, and it had first shot accuracy. So if you were accurate, you could easily just continuously hit people for 100 damage plus. And of course, the downfall to using this pistol was that you had to reload after every single shot. It also used heavy bullets as well. And I feel like in terms of pistols, people don't really talk about the Mammoth Pistol being one of the best, but it certainly is. It's very strong, and I know it did get its love during Chapter 4, Season 3, but it is a criminally underrated pistol, and definitely one of the best of all time, if you were to ask me. So yeah, guys, that is my list for some of Fortnite's most underrated underrated weapons. I know, before you come at me, I know that I am missing hundreds of items that could be on this list. So if you are interested in seeing part 2, drop down in the comments which item or weapon you think is underrated, and if you'd like to see a part 2. If this video does well, I will absolutely make a part 2. But with all that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.